Wonder what they're discussing. Doesn't matter. While they're distracted, it's time to attack. And who do we have here? Zelda and Ganon? Quite the reunion. Now, if you haven't already guessed, we're Link, and we need to defeat Ganon in order to save Princess Zelda. A classic Legend of Zelda story. And with him dead, this is looking like it's going to be a pretty short game. Except, what's this? We're being captured by the sludge. Luckily, we were able to save Zelda with her final breath. And now, we get to play as her. We start off by stealing Link's clothes, and then we need to escape from the rift that's chasing us. I follow the light to safety, and look at this view. Oh my goodness. Breath of the Wild who? This is Echoes of Wisdom, the first game to actually have Zelda as the playable character. And all the townspeople are happy that we're safe. But who cares about them? It's time to meet the king and his 2 aides. At that moment though, a random lady was captured by a rift, and even worse, the king was dragged into one as well. And somehow even worse, they were replaced by shadowy versions of themselves, who immediately sent me to the dungeons. But it was at this moment that our guide for the game revealed herself. This is Tree. She gave me the tree rod, which allows me to learn and create copies of everyday objects. These echoes will be essential to escaping. First off, we've got to escape before we can be executed. Now, if you've ever played Ocarina of Time, this is just the classic Godin scene. I've got to sneak past these goads without anybody seeing me. Otherwise, I'm going to be sent back to my cell. I hop by the first goad, use this crate to block off the next goad, learn the pot echo along the way, and then use it to distract the next couple of goads, and I managed to escape. And now we're properly disguised because apparently, nobody can tell who I am. And with the goads taken care of by Impa, it was time to learn the bed echo, which was going to be essential for the entire run. And then I made my escape from the castle. And now it's time for the game to really begin. I killed my first enemy and absorbed his immortal soul before reaching town and stealing myself a trampoline. This ability will put trampoline manufacturers out of business and ruin the local economy. But I digress. I bought a red potion and discovered my first waypoint that I can teleport to. I couldn't jump over the rifts, so instead, I found an empty bottle and captured a fairy. I then came upon the source of the rift that kidnapped that woman from earlier, the one that I can't jump over. Tree made an entrance for us, and we hopped in to fix things. Welcome to the Stilled Suthorn Forest. Here's that lady we need to save, and we also found Minister Left, quite a long way from the castle. Just past here was an entrance to the very dungeon we were trapped in earlier. Heading up the elevator, I found a Dark Nut. This armored menace won't go down without a fight, but he is susceptible to fire. And we now have a great combat echo to use. After failing to place a bed, I figured out the simple puzzle and just remove the knight's shield. I can use my powers to hold enemies and help my Dark Knight win the fight. And at the top of the stairs we found Link. He's alright after all. Now is he? Wait, why are his eyes red? And why is he attacking me? Something's the matter here. I don't know if this is the real Link. Now while my Dark Knights distracted him, I threw pots at his back. He chased me relentlessly, blocking attacks and swiping at us. And I finally realized I could just create rocks to throw rather than trying to chase down pots. And my Echo managed to get the last hit, bringing us into Phase 2. He's got a spin attack now, but I kept chucking rocks at his head, and whether it was the spear or the rock, it doesn't matter. Link is dead, and he's left behind his sword. By using it, I can transform into zinc. Zelda? Either way, I have limited energy when using it. I then spent way too long trying to jump over the fence before just moving the statue up like you're supposed to do, and all the chest had was 50 rupees. But I've learned my lesson, and I easily solved this next puzzle and earned the big key, so that means it's time for the boss. Us versus the Seismic Talus. All we need to do is knock the orb out and then deal as much damage as we can. The orb moves after each phase, so I moved on to Bats, who got butchered by his spin attack. Since they couldn't really do anything, I just went ahead and I hit it with a stone and cut it as much as I could before he got angry. Now it's in his head, so I need a flying echo to deal with it, and this time the keys actually did their job, and I was able to destroy the Talus, freeing all of Tree's friends and allowing them to restore the rift that had enveloped the land. Thanks to this, Tree got a level up, so now I can field more echoes at once. I grabbed the hook container and headed back to the real world. We met Left as well as Amber's brother, who told us more about Link and ordered us to go take care of 2 major rifts across the world. I bought a piece of a heart and then decided to help unlock this guy's shortcut. The wooden boxes were immune to fire for some reason, so I just moved the rocks aside and received $20 for my work. After that, me and the lads abused this poor thieving bird before I stole his soul, and then I met the stamp guy and I collected my first stamp. 4 more to go before I get a reward. I found this abandoned horse and rode him to freedom. Actually, I just returned him to the farm he escaped from, so kind of the opposite if you think about it. And then I arrived in the Gerudo Desert, where the first rift was waiting. Sadly, I wasn't allowed down to the sanctum where the entrance was located. First, I had to prove myself by lighting the torches for their ghostly ancestors, as well as a few other tasks that you don't get to see because I unfortunately lost all the footage. I had to help fight off some monsters, bring some smoothies to a group of soldiers, and destroy a small rift, where we actually discovered that the chief's aide was a rift imposter. After that, we were allowed to enter the main rift. And while I've got you here, why not subscribe to the channel? It won't fix my recording mistakes, but I would appreciate it nonetheless. Here's where my footage picked back up. I copied this hawk statue and this cat statue as well, and then I found Link again. Since I have a sword, all he's got now is a bow. I expertly dodged the cutscene arrows and sliced him with his own sword. This made him split into 3, who I took out one by one, and then I used my Dark Nut as both a sword and shield. And with him dead, I now have his bow as well. Please enjoy this 20 times speed clip of me trying to solve a puzzle, before finally just rotating the flamethrower and moving on, with the knowledge that the hawk was a needed statue, so it's a good thing we grabbed that earlier. I put it on one of the targets, and though you didn't get to see it earlier, we did discover that the other one required an elephant. And with the door open, the boss room as well as the boss key were both discovered. I started off by rotating these barriers in order to get the key, and then I just went right into the boss chamber, and it's time for a fight against the boss of the Gerudo Rift, Mogriff. The trick here is simple. Guide him towards the statue, and when he's knocked out, you can deal damage. In Phase 2, he brings out the quicksand and dive bombs you from above, so all you need to do is dodge his attacks, stand next to a statue, and cut him to death. He survived the first attack, so we tried again and it was game over for this mole. And with him dead, all of Tree's friends were freed, allowing them to restore the rift that had enveloped the land. And now we can create echoes at a distance. Thanks to us, the desert is saved, everyone is happy. But the king wasn't there, so I stopped by Impa's brother's house and upgraded my energy. And then I found out that the imposter king was putting up wanted posters of me. Very unflattering ones, might I add. I soon arrived in the Jabu Waters, the location of the next rift, and I found myself another stamp, before discovering the source of the rift and realizing that we need the 2 Zora chiefs to let us in. I got another stamp for the stamp card, before continuing on to the River Zora village and meeting Boss Drad, who was sadly too busy to listen to me. So I went down to the Sea Zora village and was likewise ignored by their chief, Kushara. The 2 of them were too busy arguing over who was the better musician before playing this. Which was so out of sync, it angered Jabu Jabu. And to show this anger, he ate the chief's aides and then swam off towards the river village. Sadly, Drad and another Zora got caught up in the rift, so I stepped inside and collected the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth of the hidden orbs. With these collected, Tree destroyed the rift and saved the chief. After that, we had to save Kushara and this child from the cave they were blocked in. Yup, it's really this simple. And with both of them safe, they finally agreed to work together, and we went back to the music chamber for them to put on a better performance. And that was lovely, truly a magnificent performance. And Tree finally realized that Jabu is also an imposter, and the chiefs have agreed to help us fight him. Except, of course, they got blocked off by this barrier, so we're alone. This is a game of dodging and bombing. When he sucks the water in, drop a bomb for him, and then transform into sword mode and go to town. Do the same thing again, and he's dead. And the route to the rift is now open. At the top of the hill, I found the general from the castle, and entered the dungeon ready to free him. Things started off poorly. We've already fallen into the lake below, and we had to run from the giant whirlpools in order to return to dry land. Well, there's the boss, but to get to him, we need to find the 4 remaining buttons. I quickly found the red button, and then I took the path less traveled. After pulling out the torch and easily lighting what should have been a very waterlogged piece of wood, the left path brought me to the blue button, allowing us to reach the upper level. The right path brought me to the big key, as well as the green button. I had to drop a boulder on it since, it was underwater, and after slowly destroying these boxes, I hopped onto the yellow button, completing the set and allowing me to reach the boss door. I went inside, hopped down the hole, and was greeted by Volcavor, the whirlpool monster. And he wasn't really anything to worry about. I dodged his attacks, hit him with a bomb, and then destroyed the blue hair on his back. That revealed his weak point. He did a flip, but I just destroyed it again, forcing him into phase 2. Once again, dodge the whirlpools, attack the blue stuff. It took 2 cycles since I missed, and then just repeat until he dies. And Tree's friends are now free, they destroyed the rift enveloping the area, and a few echoes are now easier to cast. And best of all, everyone is happy. Both the chiefs are friends again, and Jabu Jabu is safe. We were given another lovely performance. And look at Jabu in the background there, just vibing to the music. And with that done, we met General Wright again, who we sent off to meet Minister Left. We got everybody up to speed on what was going on, but unwilling to wait, Wright immediately ran off towards the castle, so we all followed him. After, I upgraded my energy again. Right when we arrived, the rift attacked, stealing away more people, obliterating the castle, and spawning in even more monsters. We helped fight back before hopping down this well, and arriving at the source of the rift. After a hard-fought battle against the Dark Nut version 2, I stole his soul, and found that the real king was held here all along. Now you may remember this bit from earlier in the video, except now the soldiers are imposters. They're impossible to kill, and if they catch you, they'll pull you into the shadow dimension, where you need to fight to survive. They're following if they can, so I ran for my life, hopping over boxes, dodging soldiers, and just barely making it to safety. I then used my beds to bridge past the enemies, but I hit the world's height limit, so I passed through, and then blocked the path behind me. I distracted the final guard near the door, and then hopped past him and back into the prison, where I found Impa, who was imprisoned here after beating up all those soldiers at the start of the game. And here is the boss chamber. But first, I avoided the guards, unlocked a chest with a small key in it, which I used to enter this staircase where a ball and chain trooper was waiting. My echoes were having some trouble attacking. Luckily though, my stone won the battle. I grabbed the echo, found a ring that increases my jump height, as well as a big key, and moved on to the boss. Who would be the final boss but Ganon? Or an echo of Ganon? How curious. Anyway, he's pretty standard to fight. He'll throw out his lands or shoot some magic at you, and you just need to get in close with your sword. I brought him into his final phase and he was hopping mad at me. I dodged his floating fire orb and went on the attack, ignoring the fact that my controller battery was close to death. While he was focused on my minion, I went around and moved us on to another phase. And like before, dodged the orb and attack. I had a third of a heart left, so I had a quick smoothie break, restored my health and magic, and then I got the kill, freeing Tree's friends and allowing them to restore the rift that had enveloped the castle. And a few echoes are now easier to cast. And as we were about to leave, a weird monster attacked, but luckily the real Link drove him away, before getting captured again. Not a good week for him, for sure. And with the real king restored, he told everyone that we weren't evil, and we got to take a well-deserved nap. Sadly, our work is never done, and 3 more rifts have been opened. We were given a new outfit and tasked by the king with closing them, and obtaining the goddess's sanctions needed to access the prime energy, which is just the Triforce. Those rifts are gonna be tough to close, so we're gonna have to take care of them in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe to see what I do next, let me know what you thought and what you want to see me play, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!